I remember the cold air of the hospital hallway brushing against my skin like tiny needles, the sterile scent clinging to my clothes, to my hair, as I slowly stepped out of that room. The room where I just said goodbye to the love of my life, my husband, the man who held my hand through the hardest storms, the man whose voice made even my darkest days feel warm. I could still hear the beep of the heart monitor fading behind me, feel his fingers, still slightly warm, slip from mine as his last breath escaped like a whisper, and I walked out of that room numb, empty, shaking, tears falling, no, pouring down my cheeks like rain that had been waiting too long to fall. I didn't care who saw. I couldn't stop them. 22 years of love, of fights and laughs, of raising babies and losing sleep and fixing things together and breaking and healing again, all of it just stopped in a moment. My feet dragged through that hospital corridor, my hands trembling, my eyes so clouded with tears I could barely see, and then I heard them, two nurses, standing just around the corner, one holding a clipboard, the other whispering fast, sharp words. "Did you see his chart?" she said. "They delayed his treatment again, third time in a week." And my heart paused. I froze mid-step. It felt like my breath was yanked from my chest. I leaned in closer, quietly, my ears stretching to catch every word. "The medication wasn't approved in time, and they didn't tell the family," she whispered. "He could have had a chance," and I swear, in that second, my world flipped again, not from grief, but from something darker, betrayal, confusion, rage tangled with sorrow. I turned, stumbled back toward the door I had just left, but stopped myself. What was I going to do? He was gone, my voice wouldn't reach him anymore, but they knew, someone knew, and no one told me. I stood there, tears drying into cold tracks on my face, my fists clenched, my heart breaking all over again, but this time from a truth I wasn't ready for. And as I walked out of that hospital, the sun was setting low behind the city skyline, casting this weird golden light that made everything look too peaceful, too calm for what I was feeling inside. People passed me by, nurses talking, families laughing, cars honking, life moving like nothing happened. But inside me, something cracked wide open. I walked to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and just screamed into the silence, my voice shaking, raw, until there was nothing left, and then just the quiet, that still, haunting quiet when you realize the world doesn't stop even when yours does. I don't know how long I sat there, maybe hours, maybe just minutes, but at some point, I looked in the mirror, saw my own eyes red and swollen, but something else there too, strength, maybe, or the shadow of it, and I knew I had to do something. I had to speak, to share, not just for me or for him, but for anyone who ever trusted a system that failed them. So I got out my phone, still shaking, and started recording, not caring about perfect words or polished anything. I just spoke from the rawest place inside me, told our story, told his truth, and I said his name again and again because I wasn't going to let it disappear into silence. And suddenly, all these memories started pouring into my mind like a dam breaking. The way he laughed so hard at his own jokes, the way he danced in the kitchen with me at midnight when no one was watching, how he stayed up all night holding our daughter when she had her first heartbreak, how he kissed my forehead every morning even when we argued the night before. I thought of how he'd squeeze my hand 3 times when he wanted to say, "I love you," without words, and I thought of that last squeeze, soft, slow, and fading, and I realized I wasn't just grieving the man I lost. I was grieving a whole life, a rhythm, a safety, a home, and all of it was tied to someone who died not just from illness, but maybe from neglect, from decisions made in back rooms where families like ours didn't get a voice. And the more I thought about it, the more my sadness became a fire. I started reaching out, researching, connecting with others who lost loved ones in similar ways, people whose stories had been buried, dismissed, overlooked, and together, we started speaking louder, not out of hate, but out of love, love for those we lost, and for the truth that deserved to be known. I never thought I'd become someone who shares my pain publicly, never imagined putting myself out there like this, but sometimes your heartbreak becomes someone else's lifeline, and if even one person out there hears this and feels less alone, feels understood, feels seen, then maybe my voice mattered, maybe his story mattered. And if you've made it this far, if you're still here with me, in this moment, walking through this grief together, thank you, truly from every part of my healing heart. Thank you, because what you're doing right now, just listening, is more powerful than you know. And if you've ever lost someone, ever felt helpless, angry, silenced, please don't carry it alone. We are not meant to grieve in silence. And I want to ask you, gently but from the depth of my soul, subscribe to this channel, not for me, but for the voices that were never heard, for the stories that deserve light, for the love that continues beyond the grave, because I promise you, there are more truths to tell, more hearts to hold, more lives to honor, and your support, your presence, your click, it means more than you know. It gives this story wings, and maybe one day, if someone you love is walking out of a hospital with tears on their face, they'll feel a little less alone because you were here, because we remembered, because love never dies.